So the Engwe L20 3.0 Pro. It's a really good looking bike. We got hydraulic brakes with 180mm rotors, 20v3 Chaoyang semi-punch proof tyres, plastic mud guard. I like these because there's no noise to them. And 20-inch spoke wheels. 7-speed, Tony derailleur. Gear change on this is really smooth. And a one-sided chain ring protector. Plate there to add a rack. Really bright headlight, but I'll show you more about that tonight. Let's have a look at this mid-suspension mechanism because it's really sturdy, really is. And the only way I can equate it is like when I'm sitting on a bike where I've put on one of those suspension seat posts. It works really well, I can feel it. And at the back we've got a nice sturdy rack. In there we've got a 15 amp hour Samsung cell battery. Charge point there. Coming along to metal pedals. I do like these pedals. I don't like them when they hit me in the shin, but I do like them. Folding stand there, look, for when you fold it. And at the rear we've got 180 rotors with hydraulic brakes and a really good kickstand. That's really, we can see how sturdy it is. Big metal clasp there. GPS tracker built there, look, goes onto the app. Nice sturdy gooseneck that folds, and the folding gooseneck with the BMX handlebars for the Pro 2.0 fit this. So the next time you see this bike, it's going to have those on. I think this is the suspension off of the LE20 cargo bike because it's incremental. Can you hear it clicking? So it's not just on and off. You can have it locked, or you can go down incrementally. Look, you can hear it clicking. So yeah, step forward. Nice bright rear light. In there is that 250 watt mid-drive motor, and you can definitely tell it's got 100 Newton meters of torque. Really comfy saddle, made even more comfortable by that mid suspension. Really comfortable grips. Finally, big buttons to press for up and down the pass and on. Hydraulic brake levers. Come across here to the 7-speed quick fire changer. And I'll show you more about the display tonight when I'm out riding tonight with it, because it's a really nice display. In fact, it's currently my favourite display on any e-bike. All in all, a really nice e-bike. Anyway, let's see how it gets on with that hill climb.
Well, a city hill climb, but today it might be problematic because there's road works. Let's see how we get on. So, the L20 3.0 Pro, which is, oh look, let's wait for a red light. If I did that, people would be up in their arms, wouldn't they? So yeah, 250 watt mid-drive motor, which is on a folding e-bike, rare. The L20 now comes with hydraulic brakes, a proper button system. I like that a lot. One of the things I would have a problem with the L20 is how small those little task buttons were on the Yolin display. But these are proper buttons, and they're very sensitive, so they just work. Brilliant. Usual nice soft grips that Engwe seem to put on most of their bikes. And that mid-suspension makes it feel like a suspension seat post. It's the only thing I could equate that to. Let's see how we get on. So I got it in past 5. And I have to be honest with you, you can feel every one of those 100 Newton meters of torque. It's definitely there. So as you can see, we're doing good speed actually. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on these pedals, and it's a torque sensor. So it's not taking much to get it going. Yeah, no problems getting up here. I'm tempted. In fact, I'm gonna do the bypass run with it. Yeah, no problems with the hill climb. So let's do this bypass run. Not been down here for a bit. And I don't normally go down here on legal e-bikes, but this picks up power so quickly, I feel confident on it. Let's see if these are the famous last words. The tyres are grippy. There's a extra grip test for you there because that's quite a camber on there. So I come down to pass 4 and I'm doing the limit, pushing out my own wattage in there as well with my pedalling. So the more watts I put in, the less watts is coming out of that battery. So what I mean about how it picks up. Come on, make the light. Oh, I didn't make the lights. Bummer. So yeah, see what I mean about how it picks up? You're up to the limit in next to no time, look. That's why I felt confident going down there in it. When I did my test ride yesterday, I already knew I liked this bike. There's a lot to like about this bike. And I don't normally say that just after the test ride, but you can tell it's a bit different. You can tell Engwe have been listening. But look, 16 mile an hour, past 5, gear 7. You can now bring it down to 3. Most of this review will be done on past 5. According to the BBC weather app, it's meant to be glorious sun today. It's not glorious sun today. So, get some pace up down here, and then we'll do the brake test. 25, 26, 27. And I've only got to tap these brakes. You can see how these are good brakes. These are really good brakes. These are the brakes they should be putting on all Engwe e-bikes. They're brilliant. You can see that past 3 using no watts. So if you look at the watt power, look, nothing. That saves that battery. And I have to be honest with you, I'm getting a bit of a little workout with this today. 28 mile an hour. Yeah, I love this bike already. So here we go, just coming up to the Benny Hill now. Benny Hill, if you've not watched my channel before, is the bendy hill that sucks the battery because you're constantly in a curve going uphill. Well, I'm just turning my legs around at the moment. We're only on a slight climb of it. I'm in 5th gear, past 5. I know I won't be staying in that, but you can see, 606, 797, 787 watts. That's the power I'm drawing from the battery. Hills kill range, also kills batteries. But I'm getting up here quicker than most e-bikes I bring up this hill. Don't get me wrong, I'm putting in a bit of effort, but 77 watts of power there, look. Yeah, not an issue. Standing start, past 5 in second gear. Let's go. I'm barely putting any effort in. But you can see the watts there. It's all coming out the battery. So if I drop that, and I'll drop that, and again, see the wattage go down? I'm still having no problems getting up here. I'm not killing the battery as much. Yeah, no problems there. I think mid-drives and torque sensors were a marriage made in heaven. They really are, and I always equate back to my Audi TT when I bought one with a 3.2 V6 engine in and a DSG gearbox, and it was like that. I mean, going back 20 years ago nearly, but that was a car and a half. I loved it. It's nowhere near as fast as the one I've got now. Anyway, let's have a ride around town. I was going to rev the engine then, but I ain't got one. So yeah, so far 73%, which is about 3/4 of the battery left, and this is a very accurate controller for reading off the battery. We're currently on 11 miles, so if that stands true, even at the worst case scenario, we're going to be getting 35 miles on pretty much its highest pass, going uphill, down dale. So I mean about how it takes off, and I'm not putting much effort in, and it's, as usual, these 3-inch tyres, it's really nimble. Right, let's do the grip test for the tyres. These are Chow Yang 3-inch but 20 tyres. Pretty much the same ones that are on the LE20. Yeah, no issue here with grip. Yeah, good tyres. Although, because I'm keeping this bike, I am going to be swapping the tyres out for a more aggressive profile. So I'm starting off in 7th. We're going to go up the other horrible hill today, because I'm not going down the route that I normally go down. But yeah, as you all know, this is an horrible hill as well. It's nearly as steep as the hill climb. And it's getting up here with no issues whatsoever. I mean, you see I'm putting like 800 watts through the battery. Not an issue. What you can't hear, we probably can't pick up on camera, is this motor. Now the bike is pretty silent all the way round, but when that motor kicks in, you hear like that Tesla electric motor hum. It's a really sweet sound, and it doesn't sound like it's struggling. This bike is massively quiet. Probably the quietest e-bike I've ridden. And that includes that Engwe Pro. Yeah, the tyres, I'm going to be swapping this out. More aggressive profile. And slightly wider at 3.3 inches, I think they are. But they fit. So as you can see, I've just dropped it down to past 3 because I'm on the flat. So I don't really need it. The thing with a mid-drive is, especially with a mid-drive with a torque sensor, it forces you to put a bit more effort in. But if you put a little bit more effort in, it rewards you by saving your battery. And I like getting a bit of exercise now and again, so back into past 5 so I can get away. One of the things that I miss on this is the front basket, but I've got one on my LE20 at the moment. I'm going to see if it fits, because it's nice to throw your rucksack in. You know, I'm carrying more stuff because it's not pulling my shoulders back all the time, and I kind of miss that. And it's got space for a basket on the back as well. I think this bike's a kilo lighter than the original L20. I'll put that up on the screen in a minute. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I can't get over how quiet this little bike is. Part of the reason I'm keeping it, it fits in the back of my TT, which suits me fine. Means I can take it on adventures. So I'm pedaling along, 0 pass, and it's fine. You know, those 3-inch tyres make a big difference. Going up into pass 1, feel a bit of a bite. Pass 3. You can definitely feel that 100 Newton meters of assistance when you need it. Pass 4. I'll quite happily move along on pass 4 actually. Pass 5, the full multi. As you can see, I'm using in pass 5 very little power, 52 watts. But as soon as I hit this hill, you'll see that change. There we go, look. 237, 643 watts. Here we are, my favourite spot, canal. Oh look, that Morris Traveller's here again. I love that little car. According to the BBC weather app, it's sunny today. Bright sun everywhere. Well, not here, and get down here whenever I can. It's just a nice spot, and I'm a big fan of canal boats. because these things go hand in hand with a canal boat as much as they go hand in hand with a camper van. Living the dream. Cue the music. As you can see, this thing's fine on gravel. Really, I mean, it's just the semi-punch proof 3-inch tyres, and they're fine. Oh, they're finally clearing this up, look. They got rid of loads of it, haven't they? Oh, looks a lot better. That look a lot better. But I am putting a more aggressive profile on these tyres. I mean, I often go on about the importance of range on these things, and the way this is looking, I'm going to get 35-40 miles of range out of it. And as you can see, it's not having an easy time with it. I'm not riding it around the local park and saying it's brilliant. It gets tested, it gets thrown up hills. And with this gravel, these tyres don't mind that at all. Living the dream. I think there must be a gear change sensor on this because it's not clunking as much as the mid-drive on the LE20. It's a far more natural thing going on. Don't quote me on that, and I'll try and find out from Engwe. But changing gear up and down, I'm not getting that clunking. But then I'm in low power at the moment. But even in high power, there's less of a clunk. Just wishing I was on one of these canal boats. Just one of those things that I'd love to do. Finally, I've been down here twice to see you. I'll pop in on the way back. Again? I'll pop in on the way back. All right. I said these things go hand in hand with canal boats and camper vans, and they're just mini adventures on their own. So far
I'm down to about 57% on the battery and I've done about 20 miles. So, I mean, it's been pretty much, a lot of it's been in pass 5, but I've been messing around with different passes. But none of it's tired me out. The whole idea behind these bikes is that you go out on them and you have your little mini adventures, or you use them for shopping or whatever. I mean, this thing's going to live in the back of my car, and so I can go off and film in different towns and talk about different towns. But for me, this bike is perfect. You know, my lifestyle. I've actually bought an Anker, I think it's 1,200 and some watt hours battery power bank, and that's going to live in the car as well, because if I go somewhere and it's one of those places where I want to have a good ride round, but I've got nowhere to charge my bike, I can just take it back to the car and charge it again. Brilliant. I run at a pedalling pace, sort of. You know, the chainring needs maybe a bigger chainring, but (25, 26, 27). This ain't the steepest of hills either. 28. 29, go on, get 30, yeah, 30. (31), near enough 32 mile an hour, and it feels stable. I like that. So let's do the horrible hill as well. There's a reason I call this the horrible hill, because it's an horrible hill. See how this does up here. I'm barely putting any pressure on this torque sensor. And I have had bikes that struggle getting up here. For this, nothing. This is fabulous. Oh yeah. I feel a bit of lactic acid in my legs, but nothing major. I have to be honest with you, I've had a really hard day today. Lots of running around, seeing clients, other stuff I've had going on. And I couldn't wait to get home and have a go at this. It's the highlight of my day. Well, I've made a big mistake thinking that because it's been warm all day, when the sun went down it'd be not too bad, and I've got shorts on. Because sometimes I'm stupid. But yeah. Couldn't wait to get out on it. Let's go do some night riding. I want to talk to you about the importance of filling those surveys in that Engwe sends out, whether you own a bike or not. Because I believe
this bike is a result of people filling those questionnaires in, because it's given me, in my eyes, everything we've been asking for. We need good IPX ratings in the UK so we can ride this thing round in wet weather. And they've given us that. I'll put up on the screen what this has got. They've given us that. They've also given us, for them, a first. I like mid-drives. I like torque sensors. And I think, again, that's a result of that. Range. Well, this thing keeps going as it's going. I'm going to get at least 40 miles range out of this on one charge. I haven't recharged it. So for most people, 40 miles is enough range. Fully legal. Looking at that car in front. So I'm not getting confiscation anxiety. I mean, that's a real thing. I think I coined the term first. I coined it last year. I might be wrong. But it's a real thing. Range anxiety and confiscation anxiety. You know. So they've killed both of those things with one stone. You know, it's powerful enough. The way this thing picks up and gets you to the legal limit, it's really good. Really, really good. Never ridden a bike like it. You know, taking it down the canal path yesterday, I thought I was going to struggle a bit, but it didn't. It didn't. In fact, it felt at home down there. You know, the fact now that we've got a watt meter on the monitor, it's important to me. It shows when my power is being used. It makes me a more efficient rider. Don't forget, I'm 240 odd pound with my pack on. So I'm no lightweight. I'm not one of these 200 pound reviewers. Some of the reviewers I see are sort of like 160, 170 pound wet. I'm a lot more on top of that. This for me is a culmination of a lot of big thinking. Simple thinking, but it is the culmination of a lot of big thinking. They've thought about what we want. They're thinking about their demographics and their marketplaces. And this is the culmination of that. So for all I'm going on about it, how good is it? Well, normally I talk about the fleas the bike has. This doesn't have any fleas. It has nothing that you complain about. It's got a comfortable saddle. Something I've been moaning about for a long time at Engwe, saying like these saddles are rubbish. You know, I get to give my feedback. The brakes. This has now got 180 rotors, not 160. Hydraulics. These brakes are, look, they're brilliant. The best brakes I've come across on any Engwe e-bike. Really, really stoppy. You know, all these little things add up. It's got quick fire gear changer. Now I hate that tombstone thing. I hate it with a passion. But this, you know, it's been well thought out. Really has been well thought out. I'm trying to, and I'm really trying hard to see what I'd change about this, and there's nothing. There's nothing. Folding mid-drive. Folding mid-drive. With a torque sensor. And it's a cool looking thing. Really is a cool looking thing. It's robust, it's got security built in. It's all the things we ask for when we fill these questionnaires in. Don't get any better than this. You know, one of the great things about this torque sensor is I can get this thing going in 7th gear going uphill. That's how sensitive that torque sensor is. That's how good this mid-drive is. And it's better than the mid-drive that they put on the LE20. This thing's got more kick to it, but then it's 100 Newton meters. There's a lot to be said about that too. The efficiency of this motor, mind-blowing. So you can see I'm riding around in past 5, so I'm using up power as best I can. And most of this review's been done in past 5. This is better than my Engwe Engine Pro 2.0. It really is. In fact, I'll go as far as saying it's the best bike I've ever had. It just moves differently. Do you know when we were kids and we used to draw down the cars that we'd like when we were older, and they'd have wings on and they'd be this, they'd be that? Well, if I was to design an e-bike now, pretty much 95% of it's here. 95% of it's in this bike. And you kind of think, well, is it an L20? Well, it's earned that badge. It has earned that badge. It's an L20. I'm kind of lucky that we didn't get the L20 2.0. A lot of people moaned about it, but for me, 52 volts, you know, it wasn't any slouch, but the Americans thought it was a bit weak-willed. You know, they like their powerful bikes, and you know, it wasn't what everybody expected. Let's talk about that suspension a bit. This mid suspension, it feels just like my suspension seat post. Maybe one of the changes I've made is I've made that adjustable, and you can do that yourself. It's not expensive. What else would I change? There's no brake light. That's one of the surprises that I thought, really? No brake light? And there's no brake light, but nobody takes any notice of them anyway. Same with the indicators. Nobody takes any notice of the indicators at all. It's a bit daft, really. We live in a society, when it comes to e-bikes, everybody just wants to overtake you as fast as possible. As you can see, downhill, it's fine. I'm not putting any effort in. 0 watts. So looking at this bike overall, and you might look at it and think, oh, it's 400 quid more than the L20 was when it came out. It's £1,000 more worth of bike. It really is. Mid-drives, torque sensors. You know, these make a big difference when it comes to range. And there's that other thing, when you come to lights and they go to red, I don't mind starting off anymore. I've got so used to having to try and get my Engine Pro 2.0 going. In comparison, this is such a lightweight. If you were to put my Engine Pro 2.0 on one side and this on the other, and I know I've only had it a bit, you know, a couple of days maybe, and I was told to choose. You all know I love that Engine Pro 2.0, I really do. For a long time it's been my favourite bike. And I don't get range anxiety with it. I don't get confiscation anxiety with it. But this, it's different gravy. And I'd probably choose this. Given the choice, I'd probably choose this. It's that good an e-bike. And with the government's trying to change everything all the time, this is kind of at the moment future-proof. You can tell Engwe's going in a different direction. They're going down the legal route. That N1 Pro that I reviewed recently, it's a commuter bike, it's awesome. But this is every bike. This is all the bike you'll ever need. It's what I said about the original L20, but this is all the bike you'll ever need and a bit more. It's just, it gives you stuff you don't think you need. The added in GPS security on this bike, that tag, that built-in tag, it's brilliant. I had a message earlier because I moved it and I got a text through saying like, your e-bike's doing some abnormal moving, and it's just like, that was me. But I didn't realise till I got in and saw my phone. But if I had my phone on me, I'd know straight away. As you all know, this channel's about getting people's bums on e-bike seats because of the mental health benefits of it. And this is the bike from now on. When somebody asks me what bike I'd get, I'd normally say the Engwe Pro 2.0 all night long. But for a while now, it's going to be this. Until they come up with something better, it's going to be this. It's that good a bike. And the other thing, it's whisper silent. Really is. It's one of the quietest bikes I've come across. I think the only thing quieter was the P20. That's because it was a belt drive, but you don't hear the chain on this either. Yeah, when it comes to e-bikes, this is up there on its own. Really is up there on its own. So I'll show you a picture of what this looks like now. I put the Engwe Pro 2.0 BMX, folding BMX bars on. You can probably see them there, look. And they fit. So that makes this bike look even more like the L20 of old. I even threw a basket on it earlier, which was off the LE20, and that fit as well. But it might need some modifications for the light. That's no biggie. It's no biggie at all. That rear light's very bright, very, very bright, as is the headlight. I've got secondary light on because I know what it's like riding around at night round here, and I'd like to be seen. That's what I liked about the light bar on the M1 Pro. It just made me more visible. And I want to do a little bit more night riding. In fact, I want to do a lot more night riding. Because some of you will be riding these bikes to work at night, going off to your jobs at Amazon or whatever. Well, 32 miles. So with 25% left, it's going to be nearly 40 miles of range. And I've not really struggled. If you were to use this more conservatively, ride around in past 3, go into 2 occasionally, you're going to easily see 50, 60 miles of range out of this. And don't forget, it comes with an 8 amp charger, so you can charge this thing up in a couple of hours. And then you're off again. I'm big on range. Range is important to me because I like to go out on long rides. If you've got your eye on an e-bike, and this is coming from me, and I was recently called a shill. I ain't being funny, but shills make money. None of this I've made any money from. I do it for the love of e-bikes and the fact that I can convert some of you into getting on them. And a lot of you thank me for getting you into them. Buy this bike. You will not be disappointed. If you want something legal, if you want something that's got a hell of a range on it, they can go virtually everywhere, buy this. Like I said, it's not something I say lightly. I always took the mickey out of the L20. I thought it was girly and pretty, I don't know. And then Engwe sent me one and I fell in love with it. I had a little love affair with it. I love that bike. It really is a good little e-bike. But they've just made the L20 better. I'm telling you now, if California, I mean they're already changing the e-bike rules over there. If they go with the e-bikes that we have to have over here and in Europe, this will be a bestseller. It's a trendy looking thing. There's going to be a breakdown, but it ain't going to be very long because it's just going to be all the positives and that's it. Right, see you in the breakdown.
I've turned the main light off, but that's how bright. Look, that's my house. Look how it's shining over there. That's a really bright light. if we come around to the rear, look how bright that rear light is. You know, you can see that shining on my house. That's how bright that headlight is. But let's talk about this display, because I love this display. So if we come down, take it down to 0, you've got a basic plain screen, and as you go up, it changes colour till it finally gets on past 5 and it's red. See, I've done 34 miles and I've got 20% left. So even if it's worst case scenario, there's 5 miles in that, 6 miles. That takes it up to 40 miles of range on one charge. That's really good. You can change the info over on the info bar. It's your watts, which I've been running it on. You know, top speed, average speed. You know, it's everything you need. I love it. And I love these buttons. These buttons are a far cry from the ones on that Yodeling display that you can barely feel when you're changing the pass. Yeah, I think they thought of everything. Yeah, brilliant. So I'm going to read this out. Specs. Low capacity 150 kilos, ride height 5'1" to 6'3". C certificated, 5 levels of pedal assist, it folds. I won't go by those ranges, but it's close. Waterproof ratings that I've shown in the video, IPX7, 6, 5 and 4 for the battery box. So that's the tray, and the battery's in the tray. So 32.8 kilos, Chinesium. Well, it's got hydraulic fork, which is adjustable, which makes a change. It's the same one as on the LE20. Semi punch-proof tyres. My Vice X700 mid-drive, 48 volt, 100 newton meters of torque. What else we got? Built-in GPS, 4G, Bluetooth, torque sensor, 48 volt, 15 ampere, that's 720 watt hours of battery, Samsung 21700 cells with BMS, 3.5 inch LCD color display. It's got the app attachment. It's got a 54.6 volt 8 amp charger. That makes a big difference. 30 lux with integrated horn for the front light. Rear light automatically brightens when braking or shaking. Well, I couldn't see the braking working, but I might be wrong. Brake type's hydraulic, and that's got 180mm rotors front and rear. 48.2 chain ring. Anti-rust chain. 170mm crank. Shimano Tourney RD derailleur. Shimano trigger shifter. 7-speed cassette. 14 tooth to 28 tooth. Boron steel pedals. Engwe comfortable saddle. Foldable stem. Quick release seat clamp. Let's just go into this bit. Let's just talk about this. Full suspension. 250 watt EU standard output, 8 ampere fast charging, anti-theft, folding design, blah blah blah. That's all she wrote. I don't know what else you'd want from an e-bike. I really don't. This e-bike, it's incredible. It's the best thing I've ridden. The pickup speed on that 100 Newton meters on that mid-drive, it's just astonishing. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely. I wouldn't have taken it down on the bypass run if I'd have thought it was going to do me any harm. So I've got to score this, and I said this was going to be brief. I'll just go against the cons on it. Could do with a slightly bigger chain ring. It could do with another 1 ampere in the battery, but 40 miles I got out of it. Most of that was on, must have been on sort of past 5, must have been. Even if it was 20% of the time, it wasn't on past 5. You saw the hills I got it up. You know, I'm in my 60s, so what can I say? The bike is, you can tell Engwe are listening. You can tell Engwe are listening. That it's like I mentioned in the video. Fill these forms in when they send them out. Otherwise, you're going to get the bike that they think you want instead of the bike you want. I'm going to give it 9.8. I was going to give it 9.9, but I'm going to give it 9.8. Basically because of, I wouldn't give anything a 10. It's not the same bike as the M1 Pro, which I gave 9.8. It's a better bike, but it's a different bike. You know, the only thing I can try and compare it with is the L20 and the Engine Pro 2.0. There's no confiscation anxiety with this because they can't take it off you. It's not, the only reason they'll take it off you is if you're riding it around like an idiot. It's an absolutely brilliant bike. As you can see, I swapped it over to the BMX bar setup. And no doubt at some point they'll be bringing out a front basket for it. But I think they just wanted it out the gate because it's that good a bike. TUV tested. And if you don't know what that means, look it up on Google. It's a tour de force. It's the only way I can talk about this bike in terms without too many superlatives, because I've used them all up in other bike reviews. And I don't like to be mean about e-bikes, so I'm not really going to sit here and pump out negatives for it. It's a brilliant bike. I say, rear brake light, could have done with a bigger chain ring and 1 amping on the. But you know, here's the other thing. I could set off uphill in 7th gear with pass 5 on. That motor is just unbelievable, and it's very efficient. Like I said, 40 miles range. Got to be easily achievable with my weight on. Use it if you were using pass 3, you'd easily get 50 miles range out of this, maybe even 60. Go lower. It's pretty close to what they're claiming for range at, and that's with my weight on. Yeah, I want to keep this reasonably brief because the video's long. In fact, I shot another hour's video and I've had to sort of cut out bits because, you know, there's only so much you lot are willing to watch, and I like to do a full review. And as you see, I've gone out night riding on it and everything else. It's better than the Engine Pro 2.0, and I love my Engine Pro 2.0. You all know if you watch this channel how much I love that bike. But this is easier to get in and out the car. It's lighter. It's got a fast charger as well. So I bought an Anker power bank that I can throw in the back of the car with the bike that gives me nearly 2 charges. And I've got a solar panel with it, so I can go out indefinitely with that bike. Just go back to the car, recharge, and because of the fast charger, under 2 hours to charge it back to full from near enough empty. You know, in real terms, I'm probably only going to go down to 15%, so it's 90 minutes to charge that bike, and then I'm back off out again. 9.8, but it's the best e-bike that Engwe makes by far. It just surpasses everything else they've done. It just does. For me, it's the best bike they've ever made. But that's my personal choice. I want the range and I want the torque. Not massively bothered about the speed. I'd love it. I've loved the legal limit to be 17.5 miles an hour. You all know this because I've mentioned it before. And you also don't get that pullback when you hit 15.5, nearly 16 mile an hour. It doesn't stop dead and then pull you back. It's sort of like it eases off the power, and that makes a big difference as well. The brakes are astonishing. The brakes are the best brakes that I've used on any e-bike, especially for Engwe. 180mm rotors, and they are their own make. I prefer them to any other brake make out there, except for Logan. But I think they're Logan copies. I think they're either buying from Logan without any logo on, or they've just copied them. But they are by far the best e-bike brakes I've come across. Yeah, 9.8 out of 10. My advice, you're looking for an e-bike, buy this one. It's virtually future-proof. You can't get it taken off you unless you're riding like an idiot. It's got range for days. I mean, if you're doing a 5 mile each way to work each day, you don't have to charge this up until like the 4th day. And then it's charged in sort of like 90 minutes an hour. It's that good a bike. It just fits everything that you want out of an e-bike. It fits everything that I want, that I mark out for these e-bikes. It fits it. Like I said, blown away. I don't want to say blown away because I don't know. Somebody called me a shill the other day. If you saw what I made out of YouTube so far, which was 20-something pound in all the time that I've done it. But it's my own fault because I use decent music and I lose my copyright rights over it. So don't make any money out of this channel. I don't want you all sitting there thinking, oh, he's making a fortune because he sells the bike on after. I earn more money with my day job through my business than I could ever do by selling one of them e-bikes. This video itself's taken me 2 to 3 days to produce. And I always like to try and produce something better every time I've done it. There's a discount code in the description. Buys me a pint if you buy through that link. Well, it buys me a few pints. And I could do with a few pints after doing this review because with my torn rotator cuff, I'm really struggling at the moment. I did manage to get in out of my back of my TT and I didn't video in it. And I did think about videoing it again after. But again, my shoulder's playing up and I don't want to really cause it any more issues. You can see the way it's dropped. But it's a pleasure to ride. An absolute pleasure to ride. Yeah, 9 out of 10. But with the proviso that it's the best e-bike Engwe makes. It's the best e-bike that Engwe's ever made. I love that display. I absolutely love that display. It's fantastic. And giving me the watts that I'm using when I'm riding. Again, I explained that that makes me a more efficient rider. If I'm using up too much power, I'll drop down the pass and then change the gears to a suit. Like I said, 50, 60 miles with my weight on. Very achievable. And that's with just using the gears and the pass properly. But I like to try and burn these batteries out. What's next? Well, I'm doing the sister e-bike to this. I'm calling it the sister because the Pro's the big brother. So I've got the L20 3.0 boost coming. And if you know anything about this channel, I was involved with them sort of taking the boost on board. Yeah. If you're going to buy an e-bike, I'll repeat it. I'll repeat it again. If you're going to buy an e-bike, if you're in the marketplace for an e-bike, you live in the EU or the UK, buy this e-bike. You will not be disappointed. You absolutely won't be disappointed. I absolutely love this bike. I absolutely love this bike. That's it. Have a nice week, everyone.